Hello, welcome to our homestead. I love experimenting with different heating solutions and just experimenting with different ways of doing things in general. And on every homestead out there, if you DIY things yourself, you should have an abundance of used motor oil or hydraulic oil. Today I'm going to show you how to build a waste oil burner for all of your used motor oil. Let's get going. We have a lot of equipment here on the property where we get our used motor oil. Our tractor, our lawnmowers, our vehicles, all of the above. The stuff is everywhere and it's starting to pile up. And using waste oil helps reduce the need for new fuel sources, going out and buying propane or diesel or whatever it might be. That's going to save on manufacturing, transporting of new fuels, so on and so forth. Use what you have. And contrary to popular belief, burning used motor oil is not a terrible thing if you do it right. And I'll talk about that in a second. But when you recycle your oil at your local oil change place, or you get the oil changed in your vehicle, they're transporting that oil to other places, which most of the time is burning it. Sometimes those are downcycled into other products, such as other types of lubricants. But the refining process to get out all of the garbage from the used oil does take embodied energy. And yes, sometimes it does get dumped in landfills and just contaminates the soil. I wouldn't recommend doing that out on your homestead. Two key elements to get this to burn clean are: one, a proper amount of air in the burn chamber, and two, getting the amount of oil perfect so that it completely burns off before it exits your stovepipe. If you do those two things, you're going to have a clean burn. You will completely combust and minimize the exhaust gases that are coming out of the chimney of your waste oil burner. And if hot enough, all those impurities will be ash in the bottom of your burn chamber. Okay, let's get to the build. Let me show you two options for a stove or chamber to burn this in. This is assuming that you do not have a wood burning stove that you are going to sacrifice by drilling a hole in the side of and putting the waste oil into that. So number one, you can buy one of these barrel kits that converts a steel 55-gallon drum into a wood burning stove. The kit comes with a door, some legs, and the damper on the top with the adapter for the stovepipe. This kit is about $100. I think I paid $109 for it. But finding used pipe is very difficult. You need stovepipe, you need the adapters, and you need chimney pipe, and you need a spark arrestor. So just having this kit is not going to do it. All of those pipes are very expensive. If you can find them used, great. I cannot find used ones in my area. So right away, even though this kit is cheap, it's going to start to cost you a decent amount of money. Second option I'm going to show you is what we are going to use, and I couldn't believe how much this costs for the quality of what it is. And that is this mini tent stove. I am so surprised at how heavy duty this gauge of steel is. Not only comes with the entire stove, but all of the stovepipe for $160. It's even got a spark arrestor on the top of the pipe. Now, to get it out of our structure, the only thing extra that I had to buy for the stove itself was a 90-degree. And there is really only one modification I need to make to this, and that's drilling a hole in the side for the oil feed tube. There might be a need for drilling a second hole for a forced air inlet, but at this time, we're going to run it without forced air because many oil burners do run without forced air. This stove has a decent airflow at the bottom here. It's got these vents all the way across the front. I'll leave a link for this one in the video description below, along with all of the other parts and pieces we are using for the project. So go check those out. Inside the stove, you're going to need something to burn the oil in, a secure vessel. So this little stainless steel bowl from Walmart will work perfectly fine. You're going to want stainless steel above anything else. It will take the heat with no problem. So we're going to take this, place it inside. I'll show you that in a second. Second thing you're going to need is something like this. This is just a little utensil holder, and you can see it's already got the holes drilled in it. So I'm going to drop that down in the center. I'll show you a slight modification I'm going to make here on the base, but that's about it. Then from there, you're going to need something to kind of go over the top, hold things down, and retain some heat. The best thing I could find that's going to fit in that small stove is this old used pulley. And it does have enough airflow around it to stay lit. A lot of people use these. So this is a brake rotor. You can see it's brand new. This is one I need to put on my wife's vehicle. This will not fit in that small stove. If I can find one from a small vehicle, I will do that, but I have all large vehicles. Next thing you're going to need is some sort of container for the oil. I am repurposing this, which I made for my chicken brooder. This is a waterer. You can see it's got a bulkhead on the bottom and a brass spigot screwed into that. So some sort of container for your oil is good. Also, you're going to need copper tubing. It's going to bring the oil down into the stove. You're going to need some brass fittings for this, and I'll show you each and every one of these throughout the build process. And also I've got this little piece of black pipe, which is a 3/8 to 3/4. Okay, let's start assembling and drilling some holes. I want to bring this copper tube in somewhere near the top in the center so I can have a nice flow down to the burn chamber inside. So we're gonna do this right here. What I'm gonna do so my drill doesn't walk is hit it with a punch. I'm gonna use a little oil, keep it cool, and this 3/8 inch bit should work. For the build, it's simple. You just need something that you can place inside and outside of the burn chamber. These just slide right in here. Got the little pulley increasing the mass that goes on top. And our copper tube is gonna come in and drip right into the bottom of the chamber. You can also use extra ones like this for some added extra heat absorption, just like that. Most people use 3/8 inch outside diameter copper tubing. Well, you're gonna need a way to connect that to whatever spigot you have. This one just happens to be a 1/2 inch to a 3/4, and so I found this 3/4 garden hose adapter to a 3/8 inch outside diameter for the copper tubing. This spigot is not going to do a great job with controlling the flow of your oil. So if you can find them, you need a needle valve. This is a very small 3/8 inch needle valve, and these are very hard for me to find in my area of the country. I had to order this online and wait 2 weeks for it. This will also be listed in the description below the video. As we come out with our oil into our needle valve, we need some way to be able to see the flow. So what I've done is I've got this 3/8 inch to 3/4 inch black pipe adapter, and the connector on the bottom is a 3/8 inch outside diameter to a 3/8 inch MIP. And that will allow them to connect together. I'll mount this directly above so I can control and see how quickly that oil is coming out. People do this many different ways. You can do it how you want it. That's just how I'm doing it. From there, this will continue on into the stove, into the burn chamber. Let me put this all together for you and then we'll get it running. All right, we are in our greenhouse, which is where I want our waste oil burner set up. We've started the process, and let me show you what we've got done so far. Okay, so we've got our little stove set up. We've got our stovepipe on, and we are running it through this board that I screwed to the side for stabilization. Now, at the top of the board where our stovepipe goes out, we do have this heat-resistant and flame-resistant wrap that we're going to put around this. If you want, you can add a boot. You can see that we bought one, but I'm not sure it's going to work perfectly in this situation. So we've got this for backup, and this is heat-resistant also. Behind the stove, I'm going to put a piece of roofing tin to reflect the heat out back into the greenhouse this way. Now, the modification I was talking about earlier is cutting a few slits in the bottom of this utensil holder that we're using for airflow in the chamber. And that's going to allow the oil to flow evenly under this and burn inside this space as well. All right, let's get these two things installed on the copper pipe. Cut that pipe in half, and then we'll secure it with a couple of pipe clamps. Okay, we've got everything set up. Let me show you what I did, and then I'll light it up. Okay, so over here we've got our reservoir. Of course, you want to top on it so that no dust and debris constantly is falling in the oil. Our bulkhead at the bottom is about a 1/2 inch off the bottom of the bucket. So that's going to help because there is going to be some settlement here from some of the sediment that's in the oil. And that's going to sit down here, and it really won't get down into our line. We've got our line down to our needle valve. This is our little catch basin here and our window so that we can see the stream of oil. We're running it down and right into the furnace. We've got something to reflect the heat back out into the greenhouse. And then we've got it piped out and everything wrapped as it goes through the wood and the plastic with this heat resistant and flame retardant fabric wrap. And this is what we have outside of the greenhouse right here. So this should be far enough away from the side of the greenhouse where it gets proper air draw out of the end of that pipe. Now when you're initially lighting this, you want to use a mixture of kerosene or diesel and your motor oil. And that's because the oil itself is not very flammable at lower temperatures. You need to get it really hot for it to combust. I'm going to add about 50-50 into our burn chamber and light it up. And since this one is small, I'm going to have to remove these to get it in there. Just find something that will slide in flat like that to begin with. We'll just put a little to start, and the kerosene is what's going to catch quicker. But don't put anything like gas in there because that will combust way too fast and it'll flash on you. Now we've got it started. I'll close this up because it is going to smoke out the front before it starts drawing out there. Now we're going to turn on our oil and dial in this needle valve. You're going to have to constantly adjust this, but this is all you want is a fast drip or right up to about a pencil thread, just so it's a fine stream. There we are. That might be a little bit too much. I'm going to back it off just like that. Now, if you put too much oil through it, you are going to suffocate the fire and it's not going to work very well. You just want that super thin stream. And you can see this is working well without any forced air. We've got the air coming in right here at the bottom. Now you can see this is running a slight bit dirty, but once the temperature increases and that oil is vaporized better, then you are going to burn a lot cleaner. It's just on initial startup that it does this. Okay, we've been burning for about 25 minutes and let's grab a temperature here up on the top. We are at almost 400 degrees. This thing is throwing quite a lot of heat, but hopefully it makes it all the way over to the other side of our greenhouse. To help with that, you can put some sort of little fan, whatever you have, to direct the hot air down to the other side of the greenhouse, or whatever structure you put this in. Airflow is important. You will need to continuously adjust your flow so that it burns clean and it puts out a good amount of heat. And that's going to be dependent on all the factors I talked about throughout this video. For us, it is burning a little bit dirty still, so I'm going to back off the flow. For anybody wondering how this is doing, this thermometer is sitting about 5 feet away from the oil burner on top of a table, and it is 64.8 degrees. Outside right now, it's 42. For anybody who says I don't live in a cold climate, I don't. I live in Texas, but it will be 27 tonight. And from my experience, it usually is lower than the forecast. So I'd say it's probably going to be about 25 tonight. Just standing here, I can feel this is throwing some pretty decent heat. Okay, we've been running this for about 2 hours. Still running pretty good. And it looks like, though, we are about ready to run out. And since we slowed down, it looks like we got pretty dirty. And, whew, yeah, there's a decent amount of smoke. And our temp dropped not only because the sun went down, but because the stove wasn't running very hot because of the low oil. Well, there you go, friends. That's how you build a waste oil burner. Everybody's space is going to be different. Everybody's temperature outside is going to be different. Everybody's ability to get materials is going to be different. Build the best one that you can with these simple concepts. For us, we spent about $225 on this particular build. If you have questions, leave them for me in the comment section below. Now go check out this video right here, which talks about how well our mini split worked in sub-zero temperatures. Have a beautiful, blessed day. See you next time.